Back now at 5. New information surfacing about last night's Arlington house explosion, the impact on neighbors' lives tonight, and who the suspect is. Loudoun County School Board members want a meeting to discuss the new superintendent's response to recent overdoses, why they might not be allowed to. Plus, at 5:45, dangerous levels of lead in children's food. 7 News sounded the alarm, and now more sick kids. And new pressure on Congress to act.
And we begin with that breaking update in Arlington as police just released new information after this massive explosion. The video showing the huge blast and fireball last night along North Burlington Street.
Amazing pictures. Investigators have been on the scene since last night, combing through the debris scattered all around the neighborhood.
And here's what we're learning tonight. The suspect and homeowner has been identified as James Yu. Police say he is presumed dead. We are told that no one else was seriously hurt, but 10 homes are affected.
7 News on Your Side is digging into the suspect's background and his online posts. We're also hearing from neighbors who were affected. We have comprehensive live team coverage for you on the investigation. Up first, 7 News' Tom Rousey, who's live at the blast scene in Arlington, which actually shook from the force of that blast. Tom, what are you seeing and hearing right now?
Yeah, well, Dave and Kelly, Arlington County Police still have a pretty large area roped off with police tape. The reason is there was such a large debris field from this massive explosion. I'm going to step out of the way and show you what is left of the house. You kind of have to see it through the trees there. Most of it completely destroyed, but there are just a few parts of the home left. During a press conference this afternoon, we learned a lot of new details about this explosion and what led up to it.
Like, you don't even believe it. It's like something out of a Hollywood movie.
David Mitchell says he was looking right at the home across the street when it exploded, hurling him back several feet.
It was just shell-shocking. I mean, it rocked you to your core.
We believe that the resident of the home, James Yu, 56, of Arlington, is the involved suspect.
At a press conference, Arlington County Police said Yu is presumed dead. Officers were called to the home on North Burlington Street in Arlington's Bluemont neighborhood earlier in the day after flares were repeatedly fired from it.
I saw flares, numerous flares. I probably saw about 20 flares going up, and they were actually hitting George Mason Drive.
Police say when Yu wouldn't communicate much with officers, they got a warrant and came back at night.
They told him they're going to go into the window because he didn't come out. So they were getting ready to go into the window with the wrecking bar, and that's when the house blew up. That's when everything went boom.
The fire department personnel turned off the gas before the explosion occurred.
Arlington County's deputy fire chief revealing that at the press conference. He also says firefighters evacuated neighbors before the explosion. He would not say what, if any, information beyond there being a standoff led firefighters to fear an explosion or what he thinks the cause was. But both the FBI
sent special agent bomb technicians,
and the ATF,
our certified explosive experts and bomb techs,
sent bomb experts to the scene. And James Yu is presumed dead, according to Arlington County Police, but miraculously, they don't believe anybody else was seriously hurt. The fire department saying when firefighters evacuated a lot of folks before the explosion, they believe that potentially saved a number of lives. Reporting live in Arlington's Bluemont neighborhood, I'm Tom Rousey, 7 News.
Tom, thanks. More now on the sheer force of that explosion last night. Neighbors tell us it shook their homes and rattled their windows.
7 News reporter Caroline Patrikas picks up our team coverage. She is live in the neighborhood where the explosion took place. And Caroline, what are neighbors telling you?
Well, this evening, you can still smell the smoke that lingers in this neighborhood. And throughout the day, we saw neighbors surveying the damage that rocked this community last night.
Debris is scattered throughout the Bluemont neighborhood, covering driveways near the scene where that fiery explosion took place Monday night. Neighbors who live nearby said they were asked by police not to touch any of it as they investigate.
This is just an amazing disaster.
Renee Gorski has lived here for 30 years and said her entire home shook.
This is like, I was so scared. It took me a while to fall asleep last night.
On the couch, I kind of like physically recoiled from the shock of the explosion. I had no idea what it was. I quite literally thought maybe there was a car that it ran through my living room because it was that just abrupt.
We were able to see smoke in the distance from our vantage point. I walked a little bit closer to the site and we were able to see the flames.
Susan Sundberg, who used to be an active member in the Bluemont Civic Association, said they had no run-ins with the suspect.
From all accounts, he was a pretty private person and didn't circulate much.
This afternoon, police said there's no timeline on just how long this investigation will last. That's why they're asking neighbors who live here to be patient. For now, live in Arlington, Caroline Patricus, 7 News.
7 News on your side has also been taking a much closer look at the suspect in this blast and fire. And as you've heard, police have confirmed 56-year-old James Yu was inside the duplex when the home was destroyed by that explosion.
And 7 News I-Team and investigative reporter Mitch Blocker spent the day sorting through Yu's background. And he picks up our team coverage live at the alert desk. Mitch, what do you know?
So property records show that a couple named Stephanie and James Yu bought 844 North Burlington Street in Arlington more than a decade ago. What has happened in James Yu's life since will no doubt be part of that police investigation.
This is what 844 North Burlington Street looked like before it exploded. The stone duplex sits where the street dead ends. Mortgage records show James Yu and his then wife bought the 3,000 square foot property in December 2012. Deed records show she moved out and James Yu became the sole owner in December 2021. The 2023 property tax records lists 844 North Burlington Street as owner-occupied and James Yu as the owner. Tuesday afternoon, police confirmed he is their suspect.
We believe that the resident of the home, James Yu, 56, of Arlington, is the involved suspect.
Arlington County Police believe Yu died in his home's explosion. They're reviewing a string of online posts under his name. Tuesday morning, his LinkedIn page was offline, but previously captured screenshots show an author critical of his ex-wife, the legal system, and, quote, America's hypocrisy.
Now, police say that they had been to Yu's home twice before, but only for noise complaints, never for anything violent, they say. Now, right now, my colleague Scott Taylor, he's going through Yu's social media posts, and he will take us through them all in the next hour. We'll send it back to you, Dave.
Mitch, many thanks. WJLA 24/7 News brought you live coverage of the official update on the house explosion earlier this afternoon. And our team coverage will continue at 6 with a deep dive into that suspect's background. And then ahead at 6:30, our partners at World News Tonight will have a closer look at the blast that dramatically changed that Arlington neighborhood.
But right now we want to turn to the first alert forecast. We are tracking our next weather maker, and some areas could see a few snowflakes overnight. Chief Meteorologist Veronica Johnson is monitoring what's headed our way. A beautiful scene there.
It is, yeah, a beautiful scene getting us in the holiday spirit, and maybe a few snowflakes too to kind of push us in that direction. We're tracking here a few rain showers, just a few, and even fewer snowflakes. Any accumulation would be by far way out here where the advisories have been posted until 7 p.m. tomorrow. Garrett County south down into Grant County, and for some of the high spots here of areas like Page County and Warren County. That will go through tomorrow until 7 p.m. Right now, some light rain showers making their way through Woodstock and Winchester. That's the green you're seeing. The blue now in Cumberland along I-68. I'm going to take a look at some of the camera views in just a moment. A few light snow showers that have started falling. It's all part of this latest weather maker. It's a quick hitter for us. It'll move through our area throughout the early morning hours tomorrow. And that is going to be our best chance, the wee hours of the morning, of getting a few light snow showers around the area. So here's a look at your overnight 34 to 39 degrees. Light rain mainly with a few snowflakes. Temperatures slightly above freezing. Don't worry about any icy patches. The roads just expected to be wet with little accumulation, of course, even for areas out in the mountains. Back in a few moments, we'll have a look hour by hour. I'll track you. I'll show you the future radar.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Veronica. 7 News with 5 stops at 5, covering stories around the DMV. Our first stop is in Prince George's County, where a new section of the Trolley Trail is now open. State and local leaders celebrated the opening of the pedestrian and bicycle trail in Hyattsville. The $6 million project improves safety and provides a better connection to Route 1.
Fairfax County Police is still looking for what caused a deadly car crash this morning in Clifton. This is 7 News video of the scene shortly after it happened on Clifton Road and Lee Highway. One of the drivers was killed, the other hospitalized with what were called serious injuries, and there's been no update on that person's medical condition since.
Our next stop is in Montgomery County, where council members just received recommendations from the Anti-Hate Task Force. Now the council will debate the new policies to address hate crimes and hate bias incidents in the county. The task force was created in June, and since then, members have been coming up with plans to promote safety and combat racism and hate crimes.
In Southeast D.C., a program launched today to help families have better access to fresh fruits and vegetables. Now, we've been reporting on the food insecurity in Wards 7 and 8 for many years. Now, a new partnership has 500 families getting a $60 a month stipend for fresh produce and free home delivery. You can bet other places are watching. A recent report concluded almost a third of all D.C. area residents were food insecure at some point in the last year.
And the next time you ride Metro's Red Line, you might notice the door is opening a little faster. Today, Metro got approval from its Safety Commission to use its automatic door operation on all Red Line trains. Now, this means that doors will open within 3 to 5 seconds after the train stops on the station platform. Metro says it will save riders around 10 to 15 seconds per stop. Other lines could see automatic doors in the future. Metro is currently testing the technology on other lines.
It'll save you time unless you don't make that door closing. Still ahead, chronic absenteeism, a real problem we've been following in local schools. New at 5, we take a closer look at D.C. public schools, the new numbers, and one reason, we're told, why students just aren't showing up to class.
Plus, it's a tradition ahead of a big rivalry, the running of the game ball from the Naval Academy, and what's different this year.
Plus, juvenile crime taking center stage in Annapolis. What state House lawmakers are now saying about the juvenile justice system and holding teens accountable.
Going out to dinner, maybe picking up dinner. It's Black Restaurant Week going on in the district. Here's a look at the forecast. Dry right now, but I do expect to see some showers showing up by 7 p.m. So take the umbrella. We've got showers here, very light through the evening, and our temperatures dropping to the low 40s, which, by the way, you can always get that forecast hour by hour with our free 7 News weather app, and you can zoom right into your neighborhood to see if it's raining or if you got some snow showers. Back after this.
New at 5, we are taking a closer look at new startling statistics on chronic absenteeism in D.C. public schools.
This is a problem that 7 News has been closely following for a long time now. 7 News D.C. Bureau Chief Sam Ford joins us with the new numbers and the reason why some students may be regularly cutting class. Hi, Sam.
Hello, Dave. Kelly Lynn. Well, in the past week, the D.C. State School Superintendent's Office issued a report that had startling statistics on absenteeism in schools in the last school year, and they were an improvement of the year before, but still bad. The report looks at the percentage of students who are chronically absent, meaning 10% or more of the school days, and chronically truant, meaning 10 days without any excuse, absent 10 days without excuse. Most blame the COVID-19 pandemic, saying students became used to virtual school and are having problems adjusting now that schools are back in person. It is being felt around the city, but more so in the lower income areas, where in some cases 9 out of 10 students have missed more than 10 days of class. The president of the teachers union says it hinders learning.
You start a lesson or a theme or the curriculum on Monday, you have half your kids there. And if they come on Tuesday, you have to not only consider the kids that came on Monday, you have to consider the kids who weren't there on Monday.
And as we said, it's a little better than it was the previous year. When we come back at 6, we're asking why this absent situation, and some of the answers may startle you. Perhaps fear of getting to and from school safely. Reporting live from Northeast Washington, I'm Sam Ford, 7 News.
Thank you, Sam. And school systems across the country are working to reduce chronic absenteeism. In October, I showed you how Alexandria City Public Schools is using an app to address the problem. Parent Square sends notifications when children don't show up for school. The school system updated the technology for families of students in 6th through 12th grades. About 70% of families have activated that app.
One of college football's greatest traditions is underway. Skytrack 7 in the air over Annapolis as some Naval Academy midshipmen began running the game ball to the stadium for Saturday's Army-Navy game. And this year, the ball will travel from Annapolis all the way to Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Mass. The run gets split up into 8 to 12 mile-long legs between different runners. Army does the same thing from West Point, New York. This is the 124th time the two academies have faced each other, and the Mids lead the cadets in this series 62 wins to 54.
And that game happens on Saturday at 3 o'clock. But right now we want to put our attention on the weather.
Go Navy, beat Army.
Veronica's next.
And good evening, everyone. Chief Meteorologist Veronica Johnson here. What you were looking at just there, that beautiful blue tree down at National Harbor. Isn't it gorgeous? Well, in a few minutes, it's going to get a little bit of rain. Some rain showers that will carry into early part of the day tomorrow. Here's your 5-day rain chances. Notice how low that bar is. That means just stray rain showers expected. It's not high. We're not looking at widespread or washout conditions. However, dry for Thursday, dry for Friday, dry for Saturday. Look how high that bar is on Sunday after the Army-Navy game. Sunday looking like it is going to be a washout for us, a soaker really for the eastern third of the nation. So here's a look at the very light scattered showers this evening. Showing up 7 o'clock, pretty scattered around Maryland here, maybe only Gaithersburg, Rockville area coming out of Hagerstown. And you're seeing a little bit of pink there on this map and a little bit of white. That's where there could be, again, a few of those wet snowflakes as temperatures start to drop. But it can't sustain itself. It can't hold together and stay on the ground. So no accumulation expected around the greater portions of our area except well west of I-81 in the highest of spots. 42 degrees for the district. That's at 11:30 here this evening. Some rain showers showing up around Warrenton, Manassas, and Herndon. And check out early tomorrow morning around 6, 7 a.m. Very spotty and isolated if there's anything left falling. So this system looks as though it's going to fall apart very quickly for early tomorrow morning. We're back to northwesterly winds. A chance to see the clouds clear and a little bit of sunshine as we dry out. The mountains could still see some snow showers throughout the day tomorrow, but we get a chance to clear out. Evening hours, hour by hour here on your screen, 42 degrees by 9 p.m., 41 by 10 p.m. Cloud cover expected, you bet. And again, the light wet weather moving through. Same thing for 4 a.m. and for 6 a.m. Your roads are going to be damp, but again, not icy or slick. This is not the kind of deep winter situation where you got a budget, you know, an hour extra time. This is just a little tease for us. 45 to 46 degrees between noon and 6 p.m. tomorrow, again, as skies clear. By Thursday, we still hang on with 45 degrees. And by Friday, there's your warmth. We're into the mid to upper 50s across the area as we get ready for that next weather maker. I mentioned the eastern third of the nation. Look at Sunday afternoon here. The rain moves in for the morning hours. You've got rain for the evening, too. And some areas down through the Carolinas could have some thunderstorms and maybe even a rumble or two around here around 2 to 3 a.m. early Monday morning. System moves out by around 8 to 9 o'clock Monday morning, so there could be some wet roads there too, and more snow in the higher elevations again for Monday morning if you're already looking to next week. So that's that particular system where we're looking at about a half to maybe an inch of rain. I'll walk you through it here. You're looking at Thursday again, 45 degrees, your high temperature there with mostly cloudy skies. On Friday right now, we've got the drop-off for Toys for Tots, IKEA in College Park. 57 degrees for the afternoon, but morning temperatures 40s to about 50 degrees. I like that it's still going to be dry. And then a 50-50 weekend coming our way with all that rain on Sunday. Hopefully you can get out on Saturday.
Still ahead, the Commanders. What can we say? Well, it turns out players and fans are both fed up. The implications of a possible coaching change when we return.
The Washington Commanders have 4 games left to play this season, but at 4-9, many people are already looking ahead to the offseason. In particular, what seems like the inevitable decision to move on from head coach Ron Rivera. 7 News sports director Scott Abraham recently talked with a Washington Post reporter about the long-term implications of a coaching change.
What's the word? Is it a rebuild? Should Commanders fans be prepared for that rebuild word?
Sure, use any of those R words you want to use. Yep. Revamp, rebuild, it's going to be new. They have to determine what pieces they have on the player roster, right? But it's going to be new. It's going to be, you bring in a new coach, especially if it's offensive minded, and that would, mean getting rid of Bieniemy. It's probably a new scheme. And then, do your players fit that scheme? How much do you tailor to the players? So yeah, it's going to be new, and it should be. They're 4-9.
The team has a much-needed bye week this week. Their next game is on Sunday, December 17th in Los Angeles against the Rams.
Check the calendar. The Nats pitchers and catchers report for spring training in mid-February, but already Major League Baseball's offseason is in full swing. Today, day 2 of the league winter meetings in Nashville. Representatives from all the teams meet to discuss business and, yes, talk trades. The Nationals aren't expected to make any real splashy roster moves. Instead, manager Davey Martinez says the team still focused on its recent youth movement.
We saw a lot of growth last year, especially in our younger players. I want to be hungry and be ready. We're close. We really are. These guys, they can do some special things. Our core young guys have end of the year, they started getting it. So I want them to build off of that and be ready to go in spring training.
The Nats' first spring training game, February 24th, the home opener, Monday, April the 1st, and that is no April Fool's joke.
We hope it goes well. Still ahead at 5, another juvenile crime hearing in Annapolis. What State House lawmakers are now saying about the juvenile justice system and holding teenagers accountable.
The leaders of some of America's top universities face tough questions on Capitol Hill over rising anti-Semitism. I'm Kayla Gaskins with their answers straight ahead.
Going out this evening, yes, you're going to need the umbrella. We've got some showers around starting at about 7 p.m. here in the district. 47 degrees for your 6 o'clock temperature. We'll drop it to 45 by 7 p.m. And that 45 degrees, that's what it's going to feel like tomorrow. That's the forecast high temperature for tomorrow on the other side of this weather maker. So again, some light showers. I'm tracking them right now. Hagerstown to Winchester, and you got another area of rain through Leonardtown approaching Fredericksburg right now with snow in the mountains. So here's the timeline for that next weather maker. Now through Wednesday morning, some impacts with rain, about 1/10 of an inch or less. This is not going to be a soggy system at all. It's quick hitting with some quick melting snowflakes from time to time that could mix in during the overnight. I think by 7 a.m. there's a very, very low chance of seeing any of that. No road impacts and no accumulation. Now in just a couple of minutes, I'm back. I'll talk about the bigger weather maker coming our way for Sunday. That system is set to bring rain into the area starting Sunday morning and may not move out of here until Monday, and we could get about an inch of rain. So moving the dot right on over.
BJ, thanks. Maryland House Judiciary Committee just wrapped up its session in Annapolis. This was the 3rd hearing on some juvenile anti-crime legislation. And about a month before the new session, pressure is building to finalize plans to address this growing problem. And this evening, we continue our in-depth coverage of the struggle to reduce youth crime. Mackenzie Frost of our sister station in Baltimore was there for today's hearing, and she joins us live with what state lawmakers have been saying. Hi, Mackenzie.
Hey there. So a lot of conversation during this 3rd hearing today from lawmakers, really listening more than anything, hearing from these groups that are operating across the state, working with young people. So far, we haven't heard many concrete plans from Democrats here in Annapolis to tackle ways to tackle this growing juvenile crime problem. But we did hear a lot about ways that these programs are working to divert young people away from the criminal justice system. One program specifically we heard from today operates in Anne Arundel County, working with the police department, and it gives kids the choice whether they can face charges or they can participate in this program.
So we're trying to correct the behavior and not overlook what has happened. It's a voluntary program. They can take the charge
in lieu of not participating in the program. But if they come into this program, they're going to work the program.
There are some crimes that are not eligible for this program specifically. A little later on in the hearing, lawmakers also heard from a program operating in Prince George's County, Jacob's Ladder. And the representatives from that program really made it clear to lawmakers the types of crimes that they are seeing young people engage in when they come into their program.
What are some of the crimes that you've seen in Prince George's County and really throughout the state of Maryland that you are seeing our youth get into that are coming through your program?
Yes, handguns, gun offenses, carjackings, robberies, the assaults with guns, shootings. Those are the most prevalent. Cars, vehicles, always the hot topic right now. But that's the range that we're seeing.
And have you seen an increase over the last few years in that?
Absolutely, yes.
And that list of crimes really is exactly what we continue to hear from police, prosecutors, and parents as they voice their concerns surrounding this juvenile justice system right now. The big question today is, when will lawmakers produce their plans to address this problem? It was a question that I asked the chair of this committee, Delegate Luke Clippinger, a Democrat from Baltimore City. He says that really the goal was to hear from all of the stakeholders involved in this process, and now the work will begin to draft legislation. So we likely won't see any concrete plans until lawmakers return for the start of session on January 10th. We're live in Annapolis. Mackenzie Frost, 7 News.
Thank you, Mackenzie. And the latest polling from Gonzalez Research shows Maryland voters are looking for a change when it comes to juvenile justice laws. Recent polling found nearly 60% of Marylanders say we need a strict approach, while 35% think a more moderate approach is necessary. And that is not just Maryland. 7 News has been asking what's being done to reduce the rise in teen violence in the district. Several city council committees will be holding a joint oversight roundtable next week. Council members want to hear from you. The goal is to discuss public safety, behavioral health services, and more support for young people. That roundtable is set for Wednesday, December 13th at 1 o'clock.
Here's a question. Should Loudoun County School Board members debate the on-the-job performance of their new superintendent, and particularly after he failed to notify the public of those student drug overdoses? As our Nick Minock reports, some school board members think the answer to that question is yes emphatically. But we're learning now that might not happen.
And Aaron Spence's contract says he's assigned to handle all matters related to student achievement and safety, and that Spence shall fully, completely, and promptly inform the school board of any and all information that is relevant to the functioning of the school system. And after Spence appears to have kept the public and the school board in the dark for weeks about the extent of student overdoses, at least 3 school board members want to have a conversation as a school board about Spence's behavior.
I would further like to reiterate that I requested that meeting, and I was given the support by 2 other board members, Mr. Beatty, one of them, Ms. Corbo, the other. And so this board should have that meeting at some point in the near future, and it should have been this evening.
School board member Tiffany Polifko has asked for a meeting to discuss Spence's conduct for weeks. And at the November 14th school board meeting, school board member John Beatty tried to get the meeting on the agenda.
And I believe a number of board members have asked that we add something to discuss the superintendent, and so I'd like to make a motion, but I was informed that it would be out of order based on Robert's rules, so I'm just going to state my statement here that we should have something to discuss, just the whole opioid response.
But school board chair Ian Sorokin didn't allow the conversation.
To have a separate emergency meeting would require the support of a majority of the board.
Right now, it appears a majority of Loudoun County School Board members support Aaron Spence as superintendent, despite his inaction to notify the public and school board members about several student overdoses for weeks. Nick Minock, 7 News.
Last week, it was the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office that confirmed another suspected student drug overdose. That one happened at North Star School in Leesburg, and we reported the Parkview High School overdoses. After that, Virginia's governor ordered all public schools to notify parents of drug overdoses within 24 hours.
Next at 5, dangerous levels of lead in children's food. 7 News sounded the alarm, and now there are more sick kids. We dig deeper into the new pressures on Congress to act.
Artificial intelligence can be useful. Some researchers are sounding the alarm when it comes to medical advice.